Soeren, thank you very much for joining me today. I'm keen to ask you some questions around your leadership and some of your experience, with the first one being, what positive impact can AI have on day-to-day practices with your teams?
Okay, I see it somehow threefold. So we all know the generative AI, like the Chat GPT. You can say, bring me a little code like this and that, and you get the output. Perfect. And the same thing will happen or happens or happened already to hardware tools, design tools, CAD software, where you have AI toolkits. So they can help the engineers to do standard designing parts, make recommendations to ruggedize your design. You can even do value engineering along with it, material choice proposals, etc., etc. So you can speed up your development. Of course, this is a little bit like outsourcing a task. You give it to someone. Here it is the AI, and you need to be very precise what you want. So engineers need to learn to write down what they really need and how they're going to validate it in the end. The fitness criteria need to be defined. And here you need to somehow find a common language. Like in software, you have the UML, the flow charts, easy to understand. You don't need to be a software engineer to understand the flows. But for mechanics, electronics design, I don't see that yet. But hopefully it is to come. So this is number one, design speed up. Next one is the testing part, of course. So you need to validate your product. So with AI, you can have millions of bots doing a huge test coverage, just the classical way where you replace the human by an AI in the testing. But you can go even more far beyond that. You can use machine learning algorithms to even visualize the whole thing. You can do a visual analysis of real physical things that move. And it's not like a human saying, oh yeah, it moves from left to right as it is intended to do. You can even measure along how precisely does it move. So here I see pretty huge options to increase the quality, lower down costs of bad quality, and predict issues that might happen. So, and the third thing I see is, yeah, you can put in AI functions into your product. So you can improve the product from a technical point of view, but also commercially. So you can easily look for patterns, how users use your product. You can check if certain functions are never being used, so stop developing them. So you can really make the marketing part, the product management part along with this. Of course, all this depends on how much customers are willing to share their utilization data. It's easy in the customer world. Any cell phone user knows you continuously deliver data to Google and Co. But in the B2B world, it's when you're in the security sector, it's a bit more challenging to get permissions to those utilization data. So that's it about the AI in my point of view.
Good, thank you very much. I suppose one thing I've come across sort of quite frequently is people maybe being worried about AI potentially replacing their role and them becoming sort of a bit redundant almost from the sort of the powers of AI. I suppose, how do you foresee engineers and the like protecting themselves against potential
Yeah.
obsolete status with AI coming in?
Yeah. This goes a little bit to the statement I made about outsourcing. So 25 years ago, I worked for a different company, and I realized, oh, they just outsource everything and they put things together. And I was frustrated along because I said, you do not master the details. And I left that company as a result. In the meantime, I'm thinking differently. I see it as a chance to scale the amount of development you can do. Let specialists do what they can do best and not take over by you, where you may be just a beginner in a certain field. So if you don't know how to master certain things, let the AI do, but make sure that you have relevant KPIs to make sure that what you get is what you wanted.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
perfect.
in that sense, people shouldn't be afraid that they're going to be replaced by machines. I think we need to master the machines. To me, the AI is a tool, and it is not a dictate of computers. Let's use them in a positive sense.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. No, I completely agree. Thank you very much. Okay, question two. So, how integral is having an open mind to becoming a successful leader?
Yeah. Uh, of course, in leadership, you always can fall into that daily work trap. So you have deadlines, reports to give, and oh, let's not do this now. I have to deliver this. My boss is waiting for that. Okay. From time to time, you need to step back and look to things on a much broader perspective. You need to make sure, is it really end to end what I'm thinking of? You need to listen to people. Of course, you will hear ideas that are not in line with your idea, but allow this. Mm. So I had to learn this in a nice way when I was staying in Asia. So of course, the Chinese way to approach things is different from the Western way. It is more, let's try, fail fast, and so on. And I had a hard time in the beginning to understand, but in the end, I appreciate that way. Let's test it fast. Let's spend 2 3 days in a certain direction. If it's wrong, okay, we stop it. Huh?
Mhm.
Like some pop-up stores are being built, and a week after they disappear. Huh? So fine about that. So you need to be open on this. Otherwise, you will not have any benefit from this. How to say, cultures coming together.
Yeah.
So, and of course, you always need to ask yourself, yeah, how do I carry out decisions? Is it made considering all stakeholders? You need to listen to your stakeholders. Huh? And of course, as a leader, you have certain ideas, huh? But list this down, all these proposals, list down the pros and cons, not only by yourself, asked a diverse team of stakeholders just to do their rating, and be don't be biased by your own preference. You need to be open. Otherwise, it will be a one-man show, and we both know how much you can scale as a single person. And that's the
Yeah.
only option I see.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, definitely. Potentially cutting off some missed opportunities by just relying on
Yeah,
yourself.
true.
Perfect. All right. Brilliant. Thank you very much. So, question three then. So, how do you effectively manage the creativity of engineering teams without limiting their enthusiasm?
Yeah. Um, it's great if you have creative engineers. They're sometimes rare, so you really need to pamper those. That's the essential part. Hiring talent is a real challenge. So if you have talent, make sure you're going to keep it, and you keep that talent alive and even accelerate it to the next level. So yeah, you need to foster an environment that allows creativity. So I was working in pre-development where we were allowed to be creative. So we had time, not 40 hours a week, but some hours a week, where we could really think wild ideas and work them out. But there's one thing that is really important. Sometimes ideas lead to a dead end road. And of course, as a manager, as a leader, you need to tell that to the engineer. But rather than telling it heads up to the engineer, you jointly should come in a process to the conclusion, maybe let's park it now or even stop it, whatever conditions you are in. And here there is there are two things that I prefer to do. It's first see it from a customer point of view. So that's the essential part of the design thinking process. So what's in for the customer if we follow that creative idea? What could be the benefit? If there is nothing, so what? Then it's unclear. But you jointly need to have this view. It's not only you as a leader, also the team needs to agree with this. Then secondly, um, as a leader, you should jointly define KPIs. Performance indicators are just neutral, they are unbiased. So if you agree on a certain performance criterion with your engineer, he can come or she can come uh, to the conclusion, okay, it's low. Why should I follow this? So that means, again, you need to evangelize customer value. Do innovation with an impact. If you do something just for the sake of technology, so what? That's we learned this in many off-site meetings that engineers, they develop nice things, but they miss the second part. And so you need to teach them this. And of course, if there are great ideas, you need to challenge them. Go if you are capable as a manager, if you have the technical background, you discuss with the engineer. Be very open to the idea, give feedback, ask questions, bring new ideas if you have some, and in the end, yeah, award them. So you always need to give feedback to the people. And even in public, in your company, in your enterprise, you need to make sure this guy had the following idea and it's maybe now in a product. So awarding and continuous feedback is an essential part of that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I completely agree. I think communication is ultimately what it always boils down to, isn't it? It's that effective communication, and I think if you can effectively communicate, then there's no reason somebody should feel unenthusiastic or let down by that sort of decision that's being made. Like you say, if you deliver it in the right way, in a constructive way, then hopefully it only benefits them moving forward.
And always, as I said, maybe we're going to park certain ideas. Make sure to return to those. It's so easy to say we park it and forget. That's frustrating. You might be forgiven once, you might be forgiven twice, but if you do it continuously after the fifth time, your engineer is going to tell you, so what? You're just telling me something here.
Yeah, definitely start to feel undervalued, I would imagine.
Yeah, sure.
Good. Okay, perfect. Well, amazing. Thank you very much.